forgot to unmute you.
All right. Is it streaming on YouTube?
Is it streaming? Yeah.
All right. And now we're good. Coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show, it's crunch time for Texas basketball. Franchise tag season's just around the corner, and Evan Vieth joins us to talk about whether Texas baseball can bounce back from its slow start. All of this and more coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show.
Texas finally 1-0, finally riding for the brand.
And I'm getting back on my soapbox and saying that if they just hit and rap and drive, then that play doesn't happen.
You heard it here first from Hunter. Book your plane tickets to Omaha today.
But we're not done yet.
No, shot. You're not
Are
serious.
you kidding me? So that's the third time.
That's terrible. Did you believe this was possible at the beginning of the season?
Oh, I always believe.
Always drink the Kool-Aid.
That's all I'm doing for the Cowboys right now.
Welcome into the 1-0 Sports Show on the final Friday of February. February has flown by. I'm Adam Ogburn, joined alongside by Michael Alvarez. Michael, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here in this chilly morning. Ready to talk about some sports.
I know, man. Texas can't make up its mind, can it, on the winner?
cannot.
First time 1-0 host, though, so good to have you on, Michael. Let's jump in how we always start every 1-0 Sports Show. Let's go with who's hot, who's not. So let's start with the positive. Michael, let's start with you. Who's hot for you this week?
For me, I got to say Texas Tech Red Raiders. I mean, they're coming off a 4-game win streak, 2 of those being against top 10 opponents, 2 of those on the road. If they keep this up, I think they can find a way to sneak into the March Madness discussion.
Yeah, very good timing for you to bring that. We might be talking about that a little bit later in the show, but that just shows you the Big 12. It seems like anybody can beat anybody in the conference, and the Red Raiders have certainly showed that over the past couple games. Texas learned very well up in Lubbock.
Oh, yeah.
Lubbock is definitely a tough place to play. Switching over to my Who's Hot, we're going to go international. This is in honor of our own Edley Termillion. She told me about this yesterday, and I thought it deserves some recognition. How about the Haiti women's national soccer team? They're going to the World Cup for the first time in their history. They had inter-confederation playoff against Chile earlier this week. Melchi Dumerne, she had a brace for the Haitian national team. Look at this great save, too, in stoppage time, keeping Chile out by the Haitian goalkeeper, and then Dumerne completing her brace right here in the 98th minute. So the Women's World Cup expanding at 32 teams this summer, and Haiti's going to be among them. They'll make the trip down to Australia and New Zealand this summer to compete. So congrats to the Haitian women.
Oh, yeah. It's good to see.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be fun to watch them. So I know Edley and Miss Termillion will have their eyes glued to the screen come Women's World Cup this summer. We've talked about some good. Now let's talk about some bad. Let's flip over now to who's not. Who's not hot for you, Michael?
For me, right now, who's hot, who's not hot is Purdue. I mean, they started the season off really well. In these last kind of stretch, they dropped 3 of their last 5, 2 of those being against unranked. They're still, I think, a lock for a 1 seed because the resumes branched out this year, but I think right now this is not a good time to start struggling, and I think that's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, Northwestern, Maryland, not exactly 2 strong suits. And I think the Big Ten kind of overall a little bit weaker this year. I mean, Ohio State, normally a good basketball school, pretty bad. Michigan State, Michigan. I mean, there's a pretty steep drop-off. The fact that I think Northwestern is arguably the second best team in the conference, that speaks a lot about where the Big Ten is at right now. I'm going to go over to our friends at the USFL. We've got a lovely full-screen graphic. This one's on the Michigan Panthers social media team. This is who's not hot. Michael, this is their graphic for the #1 pick. Which player do you think they picked?
I'm gonna have to say Jared Horst.
Yeah, well, there's that. But he's not the Michigan defensive lineman ripping it through the picture. He's the Michigan State offensive lineman getting absolutely cooked in that image. The fact that they couldn't come up with a better image of Jared Horst for him, I don't know, man. They were getting flamed on Twitter for this. I feel like it'd probably take about 10 seconds. Someone said it took me 10 seconds to find a better picture than this. So poor Jared Horst. He gets his moment of fame, and they choose a picture of him getting absolutely cooked on the field.
Oh, man. I mean, that's kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. I would think that you would probably get him maybe pancaking somebody or actually throwing a good block, not getting ran around, and probably give up a sack right here. So that's quite the move by the graphic team right
Yeah, USFL, they have a little bit of work together. There's a reason they're the third string league right now. We'll see if they can make some improvements. They definitely need some after that low bar. Let's get into what's trending. We talked about it just a little bit earlier. Texas basketball is getting into the stretch. You talked about with Texas Tech. They're trying to make the tournament. Texas basketball arguably trying to push for a 1 seed, but they had a dominant win over Iowa State on Tuesday. Michael, what really stood out to you in that game?
What really stood out to me in that game is the three-point shooting and the consistency from behind the line. I think that if you can get players like Tyrese Hunter going, Ontario Morris going, it's a hard team to beat. That stretches the floor out really well. It opens up more shots when they get going. They're the kind of secret weapon of the team. I think that's exactly what you need to keep getting wins like this.
For sure. And Rodney and Terry was talking about this last night, that this is a Texas basketball team where usually each night it's a different leading scorer. Against Iowa State, it was Tyrese Hunter had been struggling, and then obviously Jabari Rice has been pretty consistent, but those two tied for the leading. We've seen Marcus Carr shoot lights out. We've seen Brock Cunningham kind of come out and shoot lights out times. He had 8 points on Tuesday. We've seen Timmy Allen and his ability to take over the game. This Texas team just seems so deep, and I think that's going to be the key to maybe trying to go up to Waco and get a win tomorrow. Is there another key for you think about trying to win in Waco tomorrow in a big top 10 matchup?
When I look at Baylor, I think they kind of remind me of Golden State. They kind of live and die by the three. I think if you can limit their guard play, kind of push them toward the basket, away from the three-point line, that kind of kills their main factor on offense. I think that's the biggest way they can win next.
Yeah, Rodney Taylor was talking about last night. He said Baylor is a three-headed monster guard, so it's you almost got to limit them more. You can't completely deny them. It's more about holding them down. But that's going to be a huge matchup, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the show. Now moving on, Michael, we know you love this topic. There's a lot of chatter going on about our old friend Derek Carr. We talked about him last week about, well, he was going to win the playoff game first for the Raiders, and we decided on the Raiders. But then the Jets came out and they told Carr that he'd be a first-ballot Hall of Famer if he came to New York, which is an interesting quote. So rumors swirling. The Saints are in the mix. I've seen the Bucs and Panthers linked. It seems like the whole NFC South wants him. Michael, where's Derek Carr going?
My two teams I can see him landing are either the Saints or the Bucs. I mean, the Bucs just lost Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, that's kind of their team. They're kind of down on the QB position. I think Derek Carr would be a good fit there. He's an experienced guy. And then on the same side, I look at the Saints as well. I mean, who was their QB1 this year? Andy Dalton.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Jameis Winston.
30 for 30, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. That's Jameis Winston.
I don't think that he is the franchise QB they might be looking for to try to make a spread, especially with the weapons they have around them and the defense that they're building over there. I think if Derek Carr were to go there or Tampa Bay, I think that's his best fit.
Yeah, for sure. I think, for me, I think it's a two-horse race between the Saints and the Jets. We need to see if the Bucs get involved because they do only have Kyle Trask, but it seems like the Saints and the Jets have been the two most kind of consistency linked. I think a wild card, too, is could Aaron Rodgers go to the Jets? I think that's going to be something. It seems like maybe Jets or Raiders are kind of the two teams that are in play for him right now, among others. So, you know, Aaron Rodgers could actually have an impact on this Derek Carr thing. I think if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, or if the Jets move in a different direction, I think it's almost guaranteed that Derek Carr's going somewhere in the NFC South. If I had to pick right now, though, I would say maybe the Saints. They've been in trade talks. They've got Alvin Kamara. They've got Mike Thomas if they hold on to him. If they don't cut him for cap space, even if they do, they've still got Chris Olave behind him. They've got some offensive weapons around. If you can get a solid starting quarterback in there like Derek Carr, I think it's definitely an upgrade over Dalton and Winston.
I agree.
You could easily win an NFC South that I think is going to be a lot weaker next year if you look kind of at what the teams have coming back, especially the Bucs having to replace Tom Brady.
Yes, I think that's exactly what the Saints are missing right now is consistent QB play, and I think that Derek Carr can be the missing piece for that. I mean, like you said, Mike Thomas, he's injury prone, but when he plays, he's a factor. He's a guy you can't just forget about. And then Alvin Kamara is kind of like a receiver himself. I mean, he's a running back, but I think him and Christian McCaffrey are the best receiving backs I've probably seen in my lifetime. And I mean, I think there just could be that's a big market for him to go to.
Definitely a jack of all trades coming out of the backfield. Now let's go into our final topic of this in the NBA All-Star Game. Well, it tanked. The ratings were down nearly 30% from last year's, the lowest rating ever, as the players continue to refuse to play defense. Someone called it, I think it was Jaylen Brown, called it a glorified layup line. Michael, I mean, what's broken with the NBA All-Star Game? Can it be fixed? Does it need to be scrapped? Where does the NBA go from here?
I agree. The NBA All-Star Game is completely boring. I mean, they even in crunch time. I mean, even when I saw in crunch time,
Yeah.
towards when you want the team to win, I saw people still not guarding. Just
Yeah.
let them get the open three for the win. I think that's completely boring. I mean, it showcases skill. But
Look at the defense on that.
yeah,
they just go down the lane uncontested.
They're just watching them shoot, and I mean, it's just lazy. I think part of basketball is also the defensive end, and I think the strong defenders need to show their ability to lock up the best players,
look at this.
offensive players. I mean, they didn't even try. You just watch.
Yeah.
I think if they need to do anything, they need to implement maybe another event. I mean, maybe not scratch the All-Star Game completely, but maybe I talked about this in Crossfire I think last week. That maybe if they add a one-on-one, like a King of the Court style,
100%
would be a very something very interesting. You see the best players go at it. I mean, maybe even add a prize to it, like a trophy or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have more incentive to play. And I think that might be the best option they can go to.
Yeah, because even Saturday night's way down. I mean, you look at the dunk contest, Mac McClung obviously killed it, but there weren't any names really coming into it that were getting you kind of off your seat. I mean, McClung's a guy on a two-way contract. Jericho Sims, Longhorns love him, but, not a guy who's making a huge impact. I've never even heard of Trey Murphy before last week. So, I mean, it just wasn't huge names in the dunk contest. Three-point contest wasn't sharpshooters. It just seems like it needs a revamp. They need either some more buy-in from the players. They need to get more creative with, one-on-ones. I saw another thing that was kind of interesting. Maybe, like you said, maybe get some incentives involved, maybe get some charity money involved. Because Kobe, I think, had talked about this earlier, that he said the point of the All-Star Game is you almost get to see what happens when you put all the best players on the floor at once. And right now, with this lack of defense, I think that the All-Stars are really kind of robbing fans of that, and that's why you see these ratings continuing to tank.
Yeah, me and my friends keep talking about, I could literally go play the All-Star Game.
Yeah.
I can go get my shots. I could probably score 20 in All-Star Game.
Exactly.
No one's going to guard me. I think it just kind of defeats the purpose of showing the best players. So I think they need to flip it around somehow.
The NFL kind of tore theirs out this year with the flag football, and they expanded skills competition with the NBA ratings continuing to tank. It'll be interesting to see if Adam Silver and company mix theirs up as well. Well, that's going to do it for our first block. When we come back, Courtney Machani, he's going to join the show. We're going to break down the highlights and lowlights of the week. It's a fan favorite segment on the 1-0 Sports Show. You won't want to miss it right after this commercial break. You good to go? Welcome back into the 1-0 Sports Show. We got a treat. Defending college crossfire tournament champion, Courtney Machani, joining the show. Courtney, how are you doing this morning?
Doing great. Chilly Friday morning, but I'm happy to be here. First time ever on Want to Know.
Let's go.
So I'm just bringing my talents to different shows.
There you go. Most important question, where do you have that Crossfire trophy at right now?
Currently in my dorm on my desk.
Let's go.
Look at it every morning, obviously, kiss it and just go on with my day. But yeah, it's been a fun experience so far here at TSTV Sports.
There you go. Yeah, you got to touch it. You touch it like the Michigan thing before every morning. Well, let's get into this segment. It's our versus segment. We go through the highlights and lowlights of the week. 5 different categories. Me and Michael brought a play for each category, and Courtney is going to judge which play best fits that category. So, Michael, let's start it with you. What's your best men's college basketball play of the week?
I got to go with the Tishawabi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think it's Tishawabi. His dunk against Kentucky against Tennessee. I think that was my favorite.
There we go. We got it. Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah, you see, fling it around and right on him, on his head. He had no idea what to do there. He was stunned by the play. That's just how you do it right there. I mean, nice pick and roll action. Don't even take a dribble. Let me just dunk on you. Don't contest. What are you doing? That's on your head. It's not your game. And, I mean, that was my favorite play because I love dunks personally, and that's just how I see it.
He'll be interesting, shaped by a heck of a player. St. Peter's found a way to get past him last year, but it'll be interesting to see if he makes some noise with the Wildcats in the tournament. Mine, I labeled this a prayer, so we're gonna play the clip on this. We're gonna go down the Ohio Valley Conference, Morehead State. Shot clock winding down. Jake Wolf, he's got the ball knocked out of his hands right there. Comes back to him. He'll just kind of throw it up. Bank it as the shot clock expires.
Was that a hook shot?
Just kind of behind the back, kind of flip up. So I'm not going to pretend like there's a ton of skill in this. It's basically an answered prayer, but that's a heck of a play. I've never seen a three-pointer like that go in.
I mean, dunks like that happen all the time. I mean, I'm a big fan of dunks, but you rarely see that happen in any basketball game. So I think I'm going to have to go with that prayer right there.
There you go. On Morehead State, where we're digging deep for these highlights of the week. Now let's flip over to the women's side of things. Best women's college basketball play of the week. Michael, what you got for us?
Personally, I like the Cheyenne Sellers and one against Iowa. Maryland versus Iowa this week.
Little Big Ten action.
Yeah, a little steal right here. Maryland obviously killing Iowa. Yep, smack me in the face. Doesn't matter. That's and one. You can't guard me. Let me just go. Here, help me up. I'm here. You can't guard me. That's smack to the face and one. I don't need to see the basket. I'm going to make it. That's how I like it.
Good stuff. Let's go up. Mine going to be up in the Northeast, the old Atlantic 10. Fordham's going to be down by 2 right here in the waning seconds. We get this clip rolling. Rhode Island's going to make a free throw. Fordham going to inbound it. Time running down for Anna DeWolf. And look at this acrobatic. She's going to go around the Rhode Island player and nail the 3 at the buzzer for the win. I think we got a replay. Look at just how acrobatic that is. Kind of off balance, throwing it up.
Ooh, that's a hard one. You're digging deep for these clips.
Yeah.
That game winner reminds me of the Luka one a couple years when he hit that little flow there. But I love the contact finish. I'm going to have to go with the and one.
All right.
Go with the and one.
There we go. Well, sweet. Well, we just ripped on the All-Star game, but there's some nice plays from it. So let's go. Best NBA All-Star game play from this past weekend. Michael, what did you come up with?
Give me LeGoat. Give me him turn the clock back on his self-lob in the minutes he played. Let me just show the beginning here. Let me turn the clock. I do this all the time. Kind of shake back 2016, 2018. Let me go ahead and grab that. Lam it in. He may be 38 years old, but he's all-time leading scorer. He knows how to get it done.
That's pretty nice. You're playing against stellar defense, too, in the All-Star game. Just incredible to pull that off. My highlight's going to be against no defense because it was in the dunk contest. How about this? Mac McClung. He may be playing on a 2-way contract, but he's got dunks worthy of an NBA All-Star. Look at this. The old 720 to win the dunk contest.
In the high school jersey.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. So, former enemy of the program. He's a Texas Tech Red Raider, but he certainly made a name for himself on Saturday night with the dunk contest. So, 2 pretty unbelievable dunks, Courtney. Which one was better in your opinion?
Man, I don't want to be biased because LeBron's my favorite player of all time.
Great call.
He played terrible last night. and Mac McClung, I mean, people say he saved the All-Star dunk contest. And so, I don't know. I'm just a homer for LeBron. I'm going to have to go with the self-lob. I'm going to go with the self-lob.
All right.
LeBron turning back the clock.
Of course.
Now let's go for the biggest blooper of the week. Michael, what you got for us?
All right, let's take it to my favorite part of hockey, fighting.
Let's go.
I have Austin Watson losing a fight. Look here, he's like up top view. All right. Let me take a cheap shot right here. Yeah, your kid up, teammates here. Oh, no, throw the gloves off. You want to do this? Let's do it. Oh, yeah, I can fight you too. That's fine. All right, here we go. Up. Oh, wait, I'm kind of losing.
No.
I'm not having a good time. Up. He's up. Throw me to the ground. All right, I lost.
I love that the refs just let them go.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about hockey.
Yeah.
I think it's a rule that the refs got to let them fight for just a second, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about hockey.
They got to boost ratings or something. My blooper clip has some audio on it, so we're about to roll it. My
Here with
blooper
one of our
is
superstars, Mike Rainbow Trout with the Superstars. Make sure to follow them on Instagram and TikTok. But Mike, you've eaten 2 of our people in the last 2 days. What gives? Do you like eating people? Am I asking too many questions? What the? Go to Bryson!
Well, that was certainly some shenanigans going on there between chaos and Mike Rainbow Trout.
well, so that randomly aired coming back from a commercial break on Flow Sports. It was Elon taking on Monmouth. I don't know how that got on the air. I don't really know if there's a ton of context for it. But that's just my biggest blooper. I don't know how that gets allowed on the air. I don't know. That's the most random thing I've ever seen.
I love fights. I wish NFL and the NBA would incorporate fights, but obviously you don't have the protective gear for that. But that was just one of the most random things in my life. So I'm going to have to go with that. Fish, whoever that was, eating that guy.
Sideline reporter, I looked him up. He's a senior, too. He's a senior down there. So I guess they threw the college sideline reporter. They're like, all right, how about you go get eaten by a fish to boost some ratings? So
I would never.
Yeah. Oh, man. Maybe we got an idea. Maybe we need to get one of those and have them meet Tommy live on College Crossfire. We'll get that one on the works. Final category. I think it's 2-2, Michael, so it all comes down to this.
All right.
We've got our best college baseball or softball play of the week. Michael, let's go with you. What'd you bring to the table?
Let me take it to softball, and I might be a homer pick, but give me Alyssa Washington's first home run of the season against Omaha.
Ooh.
Oh,
There you go.
Didn't know if they showed it. Oh.
Wow.
Well.
She cooked it down the left field line.
She smacked it. That's all we know.
Yeah.
She smacked it, and then she was cooking on her way home. So, I mean, that's the play I'd like to see.
Texas softball off to a good start this season, too. I'm going to flip it over to the men's side. Some baseball. We're going to go up to, I think they're in Oklahoma. Oral Roberts, our friends from March Madness a couple of years ago. Look at Jonah Cox here. And center field laying out for the catch. Great catch there. That comes in I think it was in the 7th inning. Key moment. Still a close game. And then we got a little bit of a zoom in coming up here in just a second. Maybe look at this. In center field, laying out for the catch. Have a grab by Jonah Cox. So we've got a Longhorn favorite nail on the home run or an acrobat catch in center field, Courtney, who's taking home the top prize.
Last week I was watching Deion Sanders MLB clips, and I saw him make that same exact catch. I think it was him. I don't remember. And I just love the acrobatness of baseball in that sense. And so I'm going to have to go with that game, that amazing catch. I'm going to have to go with that amazing catch.
It's fair. Put his body on the line.
They're not good just at basketball, too. They're not good at just wrecking your bracket. They got some good baseball down there as well. Well, that was fun, y'all. Courtney, good having you on. But don't worry, Courtney's not going anywhere. He'll be back in just a little bit. He'll help us talk some basketball and some franchise tags and pick the top games of the week. But when we come back, Daily Texan baseball reporter Evan Vieth, he's going to join the show. He's going to break down Texas' tough start in Arlington and how the Longhorns are looking to bounce back. That's coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show. Because we're live on YouTube, so it's going to come through.
Yeah, so.
I think we just. I think. Welcome back onto the 1-0 Sports Show. Evan Vieth, he's changed beats from women's soccer to now baseball. Good to have you back on the 1-0 Sports Show. How are you doing this morning?
It's great to be back. I'm doing good. Like I said, it's a little chilly out here, but I'm having a good day.
Aren't you a DC native?
Yeah.
This is like spring for you, right?
It's not bad. It's just not fun. I liked it yesterday when it was 80 all day.
Yeah, there you go. So that's Texas winters for you, but I'm sure DC people would laugh at what we complain about for our winter weather down here when it's like 40 degrees.
It would be 30 most of the time around there.
Yeah.
So.
Whew, man. Well, that's why I like our Texas winters. But let's jump into it. Obviously, an interesting start for Texas baseball to this season. But before we get to this season, let's look back at the offseason. Can you just kind of catch fans up about kind of maybe a key loss or two, a key addition to the Horns had over the offseason?
I mean, there's no team that lost more than this University of Texas baseball team did. 7 of the starters on the offensive side, 110 home runs worth of offense, and 2 of their weekend starters. Just not something you can easily recover from. Kind of in a Moneyball scenario, you're not replacing Jason Giambi's home runs. You have to replace his runs and wins. David Pierce did his best. Probably not fully going to be able to reacclimate that, but most importantly for me are the 2 transfers in the offensive lineup. TCU's Porter Brown, who's now coming in to play in the outfield, one of the best hitters already so far for the team, had a big home run against Arkansas, and Garrett Giometti, who was kind of had to step into some huge roles once Silas Arduin is no longer as the catcher for the team, and Arduin was one of the best defensive catchers in all of college baseball, and Gilmetti's arm has been really impressive so far, something David Pierce has really liked, and he's someone that, as the season progresses on, could be one of the best defensive catchers in all of the Big 12.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's never anything good to lose players like that. But with key players like Ivan Melendez and Pete Hansen gone from last year's team, who do you expect to step up and be the leader of this team this year?
I mean, there's not many veterans on this team. The main ones you'd think are Mitch Daly and Eric Kennedy right now. They're both playing kind of the 2 captains of the infield and outfield. Daly at shortstop, Kennedy in center field. Both more of the vocal players. Dylan Campbell's another guy who's a little bit quieter. Same with Lucas Gordon, who both probably need to step up a little bit on the leadership side. These are the guys with the most experience on the team and probably need to get these young freshmen, who a lot of them are starting already right now, into shape for the season.
For sure. I want to say Dylan Campbell. I want to say he had a key home run against East Carolina in that series.
Yes, he was probably the main MVP of that Super Regional.
That was a heck of a series. That was a fun series to watch. It was a weird game 3 that finished like at 1 a.m. due to rain.
Oh,
but,
my God.
Hey, there you go. So we talked about some key players there, or some star players, but how about a breakout player? Who's a player that you think may not be on many fans' radars that you think is set for a huge year for the Horns?
Well, I think there's some players that are kind of in that in-between of already been a starter on this team or somewhere else and is a freshman coming in. Jack O'Dowd is the name I want to mention because they've kind of created a path for him at second base where Mitchell Daly was taking that up last year. Daly's now at shortstop, and O'Dowd already has had some major power flashes already. He had a really big hit, and I think 3 of them against this A&M Corpus Christi team on Tuesday. And he's someone that really needs to step into his own and make that middle of the order a lot better. You expect one of the freshmen to kind of find their slot in the 4 spot of the order, but O'Dowd's been in that 5 slot, hitting well, and the former Vanderbilt transfer didn't really show much last year, and he has to be someone that is really good for this team if they want to succeed offensively. And LeBaron Johnson, for me, is the pitcher that you need to watch out for. Had a great game on Tuesday as well, but he's not someone already in the weekend rotation, but because of injury and just underperformance, you expect him to probably have 2 or 3 starts in the Big 12 against some of the best teams in the nation on a Sunday or Saturday. He's got to step up for this team to be competing at all in the postseason.
Bigger test coming along, but definitely a big start.
Yeah.
Promising start for him against the Islanders.
For sure. His slider looks amazing.
On Tuesday.
And obviously a bit of a disastrous start with 3 losses at the College Baseball Showdown. What went wrong, in your opinion, up at Arlington?
For me, the defense is something you can't ignore at all. 8 errors in 3 games. 5 of them came against Vanderbilt. That game is, you almost have to completely erase it from everyone's memory. 2-12 loss and 5 errors from your team is just pretty awful, regardless of what you think. also, I really think that past the 5th inning, this team really struggled, both on their bullpen side and the opposite team's bullpen side. Bullpen in the first game was what lost the game. Both pitchers for both Arkansas and Texas were dealing amazingly. Smith and Lucas Gordon from Texas. And once it got to the bullpen, Stover, who is one of the best relievers in all of the SEC, completely shut down the Longhorns in the last 2 innings. And the bullpen from the Longhorns gave up runs. Same thing happened in Missouri. They just need to be able to get better at the situational late game hitting. And the bullpen, which was the main concern last year, probably what lost them in Omaha mostly last year, is still a problem for this team that I know coach has done a lot in the transfer portal to make it better, but it's still got a lot to improve.
For sure. And so obviously the Horns bounce back a little bit. They get that big 12-2 win over Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Tuesday. Now they have an interesting series. The Indiana Hoosiers coming to town for a 3-game series this weekend. I mean, you're going to be out the game tomorrow. What are you kind of looking for out of this team, you know, throughout this weekend as a whole against Indiana to kind of show you they're starting to make some progress after that 0-3 start?
Well, I definitely want to see a game that's decided by a save with the Longhorns within 3-point game that they win, where saves weren't a big thing that happened last year because either the Longhorns were blowing teams out or not winning by or losing by a lot. And there's not really a true closer on this team right now. Andre Duplantier II is probably the one that you think of, and that's kind of it on the team for the bullpen. I really want to see them, him or Luke Harrison, really step into that closer role and have to do it because they haven't had to do it yet. And also, I need a freshman to really step up on the power department. The corner infielders are where you expect the power to come from, and Jalen Flores, Jared Thomas, we've heard a lot about them this offseason, and they've shown a little bit of flashes. Flores had a big home run against A&M Corpus Christi, but this is something where we need to see one of them say, hey, put me in the 4th spot. Once Big 12 play comes around, I will hit a home run once in this weekend span, and you will expect a lot of power from me.
All right, and then what is the realistic floor you expect from the team this year?
This is still a top half team in the Big 12. I know I've been very pessimistic talking about this team, but TCU has the best roster in the conference, and Braden Taylor's the best player in the conference, and is one of the best players in college baseball. It's going to be hard to beat a team like TCU, even Oklahoma State. But between them, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, OU, UT, these are the very solidly top 5 teams, and UT can probably be better than 2 of them. It's possible. I think the floor is 5th in the Big 12, which would be a problem season for this Texas Longhorns team that's one of the best, if not the best, baseball programs ever. But I think they'll still be competitive in Big 12 play enough, and they'll steal some wins against some of the good teams, even outside the Big 12 when they play A&M or LSU, which 2 teams they're definitely not going to be favored against, but could steal a game in the Tuesday series.
Yeah, that's cool. LSU, I think, coming to town here, right? In a couple
Yes, they
weeks.
are.
That's definitely a big game. I'm sure the dish is going to be packed.
We'll need
for
the
that
Longhorn
one.
faithful for that.
100%. So now we kind of talk about kind of the floor. It looks like they'll be competitive in the Big 12. How competitive do you think they can be in the NCAA tournament? How far do you think of a run they can make?
I mean, as much as this was last season was one that people are disappointed by a little bit because of the Omaha performance, you got to remember that they didn't even host their Super Regional. They were in East Carolina, which is probably one of the hardest places to play in college baseball. You wouldn't expect that from East Carolina, but the jungle was crazy out there, and this is not a team that you're going to expect to host a Super Regional or even probably a regional. They're probably going to have to come from behind and beat a very good team to even make the Super Regionals to get the top 16 team. I think they're going to be a regional team. This is a top 64 baseball team in the country. Will they make it out and upset a team like Arkansas, who would probably be hosting? LSU would be a team that would be hosting A&M. I don't think so, but there's still aspirations, and the team can only get better over time with so many freshmen on the team. So if the bullpen works out, if the bottom half of the order is really solidified, it's a team that can make the Super Regionals.
A lot of roster turnover on this Texas team, but it feels like with a program with as much pedigree as Texas, feels like you can never really count the Longhorns out.
Yeah, I agree.
Going to be interesting to see them this year. Go out to Dish Falk Field. We got what is it, 6:30 tonight?
I believe 6:30.
6:30 night, and I think it's about 1 Saturday and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So go out, support the Horns. Should be a fun series against the Hoosiers and the Longhorns, so to get back on track. Evan, thank you for joining us. We'll be keeping an eye on you, bringing some great coverage of Texas baseball.
Thanks for having me on.
So, but when we come back, Courtney's going to rejoin the panel. We've got some college hoops and NBA to talk about, and franchise tag season. That's right around the corner. That's all coming up after this commercial break here on the 1-0 Sports Show. Welcome back into the 1-0 Sports Show. Courtney's rejoined the panel. We've got some hot topics in basketball and a little bit of franchise tag talk coming up here in our segment of BS or Real Talk. So how this works, I'll present a statement, and then the panel will talk about whether we think that is real talk or whether it is BS. So let's start with college basketball. This was Michael's Who's Hot. In honor of you, let's talk some Red Raider basketball. Texas Tech, they're streaking. They're on a 4-game win streak, trying to get in the NCAA tournament. Joe Lunardi currently has them as his next 4 out, so they're in the picture. Can they sneak into the NCAA tournament? Courtney, let's start with you. What do you think?
I think that's real talk. I mean, like you said, 4-game win streak. I believe they face TCU next, and TCU's kind of been teetering recently. They haven't really been playing good. They've also been dealing with like a lot of things throughout their season, but they're getting more healthy. But I think Texas Tech will beat them. They do also face a couple of teams like Kansas, which I don't see them winning, but they have built the momentum at the right part of the season. You don't see a lot of 0-8 teams making a run like this at this time. So I think they have the right momentum and the right opportunity to make a run at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Michael, what do you think?
I know I gave them praise earlier about being a hot team, but I got to call BS here. I think they just struggled a little too much. I mean, they're next 4 out right now. That's still, I think, 2 behind being the first 4 in, or even last 4 in.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, they got to at least win 2 of these next 3, and then maybe even steal 2 games. Maybe you have to win the tournament. Well, obviously, when the tournament you go.
Yeah.
But I think they got to at least win 2 games. They got to win 2 more of the regular season, 2 more in tournament maybe, and I think they can squeeze in. But right now, I just don't know if they can do it.
I'm going to say I think it's real talk as well, because you look at this in a big component of it. One of their star players, their star big man, Fardez Amek, I maybe pronounced his name wrong there, but he's only played in 7 games this year. They've been 4-3 in those games. The only 3 losses at K-State, at Texas, and home against Baylor. Those are all top-tier teams. They've been hot lately, and I agree with you, Courtney. I think they find a way to knock off TCU. Then they play Oklahoma State in their final game of the year. That Kansas game at Kansas is going to be tough, but this is a team that's knocked off Texas, that's knocked off Kansas State, that's knocked off Iowa State, all ranked teams in the past couple of weeks. They went to Oklahoma and won there, and Oklahoma's not an easy team. We saw them take Texas to overtime. I think this Tech team's streaking out enough where they'll take 2 out of the last 3. I think they should win at least a game in the conference tournament, and then they'll have a shot at someone like a Texas, a Kansas, a Baylor, and who knows, on a neutral site. So I think this Tech team is streaking, and the NCAA tournament, the committee, they love average mid-majors. We saw them, I think, a 17-15 Michigan team in last year, so they love average mid-majors. I think Tech sneaks into the first 4. I think they do if they can continue this hot streak they're on. Going to be fun to see here over the closing weeks. Big game tomorrow, though. I think that one against TCU is a must-win if they want to make it.
Yeah.
Now let's go. Patrick Beverly, he's now in Chicago, and he was talking some smack again about his former team, the Lakers. He said he had circled the 2 dates the Bulls have upcoming against the Lakers. He said they want to keep the Lakers out of the playoffs. Well, he's talking for a Bulls team that's not even in the playoffs as things stand right now. So is Patrick Beverly, is his Bulls, are they even going to make the playoffs? Is that BS or real talk? Will they make the playoffs? Courtney, what do you think?
I think it's BS. I don't really think Patrick Beverly at this point in his career, maybe if he was Houston Patrick Beverly, he'll bring something to his team, but I just don't think it's going to be. I mean, he's part of the reason why the Lakers are where they are right now. He's going to an even, I guess, like, similarly talented team. Patrick Beverly is not the point guard on that roster that would help them make the playoff push. That's Lonzo Ball, and we don't know what's going on with Lonzo Ball right now. So Patrick Beverly is going to make like really not much of an impact, and I don't think he's going to make the playoffs either.
I say that's real talk. Maybe they sneak in as a 10 seed in the play-in, but they're not getting to the playoffs from there. They've lost 6 in a row. In their last 10, they're 3-7. This is not a great Bulls team. You just said the magic words, Lonzo Ball. They said they're probably not going to activate him this year. They don't think he's going to be good to go this year. That's a big blow. I think Patrick Beverly, he's going to get the Bulls in the headlines for antagonizing everyone he sees, but I agree with you. I think they could sneak in as a play-in, as a 10 seed, but they're not getting the playoffs. There's no way. I think they're winning 2 games in a row against top, the 7 or 8 seed. You look at like a Miami Heat team, Atlanta Hawks and Trey Knicks, the New York Knicks, they slipped down. Even the Nets, they were slipped down to that 7th spot. The Bulls aren't getting past them. I'm calling BS on that.
I have to agree. I'm going to have to add on to both of y'all's statements. I mean, they lost 6 in a row. I mean, they're the 11th seed right now. I think they're 6 games behind 500. Maybe, I think 6 games behind 500. And, I mean, Patrick Beverly's not going to change that. I mean, he was a backup. He was the backup point guard for a struggling Lakers team, too. So, I mean, if he wasn't the one option there, how is he going to be a one option here and somehow change how their season's going. I mean, they might be able to sneak into the play-in, but like you were saying, I don't think they can take down Miami in the first. I mean, they'd probably have to go against the Bucks or Boston in the first round. There's no chance they'd win that, and I don't even think they'd win a play-in tournament.
No.
So I got to say BS.
I say his most notable moment might be holding the camera on that LeBron knocked out.
That was funny.
So that about sums up his Lakers season this year. Let's talk, and we've been mentioning the franchise tag. That's coming up here in a couple of weeks is when teams can start franchising tag players. And the reason we're talking about this is Tony Pollard may be in contention for that. The Cowboys having to figure out what they want to do. They've got a lot of players on a lot of big contracts, and they got to figure out how they can kind of shift money around. So Tony Pollard, he'll be a Dallas Cowboy next year. Is that real talk or is it BS? Michael, let's start with you.
I'm going to go BS. I think Tony Pollard has the talent to move to be an RB1 somewhere. I don't think they're going to want to get rid of Zeke. I don't think he wants to be behind Zeke. I think the Cowboys are going to use Dalton Schultz as their franchise tag. He was the most consistent member of their team this past season, and I just think Tony Pollard's going to maybe want more money somewhere else and maybe want a bigger spot, RB1 spot somewhere else too.
I don't know. I feel like it's real talk. I feel like the Cowboys will find a way to keep him. I think anyone who watches football can just tell that Tony Pollard right now just has more in his tank. He has more in his legs than Zeke Elliott. Mm-hmm. Zeke Elliott's just getting older. He's getting a little bit more run down. So I think it would just be a really almost kind of stubborn move from the Cowboys to be sticking with Zeke, saying this is our man, this is our man. Whether it's the franchise tag, whether it's a short-term deal, I will say the only complicating factor is obviously Pollard's going to be rehabbing from injury. So, it's even going to be healthy for the start of the season. That's the hard part is, are you going to franchise tag a dude who's only going to be playing half the season? I think that's where it could get complicated. But I think deep down, I feel like the Cowboys have to know he's the better running back. He's the running back that can carry you for the next couple of years. I feel like they'll find a way to get a deal done. Now, they did let Amari Cooper. They traded him away for next to nothing, and that kind of came back to bite them. So I wouldn't put it past Jerry Jones to get rid of Tony Pollard, but I think he'll stay on with the Cowboys. So I'm going real talk on this one. Courtney, what do you think? Break the tie here.
Oh, man, the Cowboys are a hard position this year. I mean, when you look at who they have to pay, like a Michael Parsons soon, the CeeDee Lamb, and Trayvon Diggs, I don't think he's gotten his money yet. So they have a lot of young talent that need to pay, and Jerry loves paying his young talent. But Zeke is also one of his talents that he drafted and he grew up, so it would be hard to let him go. But, you look at the past of the Cowboys, they also let Emmitt Smith go later in the season. They let Tony Dorsett go all the way back. And there's also a plethora of running back and tight end talent in the draft. Mm-hmm. So they kind of have to think about what they want to do this year. I think they might get a discount because he did get hurt. Yeah. But, I mean, just judging off the potential of what Tony Pollard could do, I think he keeps on to Tony Pollard. I think they do a franchise tag with him, and I think he's going to come back next year.
It'll be interesting to see. Keep your eye on that spot the next couple of weeks. You never know with Jerry Jones, honestly, so who knows what's going to transpire. Let's bring it back for our final Real Talk and BS. Let's bring it back to college basketball. The Houston Cougars, they've been making noise. They're back at #1 in the country, but they've had some kind of up and down games in the American. Is this team that went to the Final Four, I believe, 2 years ago, and it was an Elite 8 or Elite 8 team, I want to say, last year. All these tournaments blend together. The Cougars have made some deep runs. Will they live up to the ranking and make the Final Four again this year? BS or Real Talk? Courtney, let's start with you.
Originally, I did put BS, but I'm starting to change my mind a little bit. I'm going to go Real Talk.
Okay.
I mean, they've been a very consistent team these past couple years. I would say one of the most consistent teams in college basketball past 5 years, I would say. Coach Sampson has them in a good spot. They've been developing players. Mm-hmm. They've been playing hot. They are obviously #1 in the country. Of course, they've been playing hot.
Yeah.
And I think the college basketball scene right now is not as talented as it was before. Mm-hmm. I can definitely see them making a run to the Final Four once again.
I feel like this is maybe similar to last year because 2021, it was Baylor, Gonzaga, and everyone else. This year it just feels like it's a wide open field. There's probably 10 teams that could win the tournament, honestly, come March and April. I'm going to go BS on this one. Houston's just been a little bit up and down. It just worries me how weak the American is, I think. They're just not getting tested day in and day out. I feel like we saw this with Gonzaga for a while. They did eventually break through. But it just seemed like they would stumble up eventually down the road. I just get worried about Houston. They're not going out, soon in the tournament. But I feel like Sweet 16, you get a 4 seed. Elite 8, you get a 2 or a 3 seed. I think that's going to be a tough matchup against a team that hasn't really been battle tested, a team that's lost to Temple. They've had some ups and downs in the American. I just think that lack of battle test is going to come back to bite them. Now, we've seen Bill Self talk about the Big 12. He said, well, they're either going to be all battle tested or they're all going to be beat up in the end of the tournament and worn down. We'll see how it works out. Maybe Houston will be fresher coming into the tournament, but I just think that teams that will be more tested will succeed down the line when you're playing 2 big games in 3 days. So I'm going to say BS on that one. I think the Cougars come up just short of the Final Four. Michael, bring us home. Break the tie again. Are they going to the Final Four or not?
They're not going to the Final Four. I gotta call BS here. I mean, they have a talented backcourt with Sasser and Shed. I mean, that's probably hard to solve your team. I mean, but the conference they play in is just too weak. I mean, the last time they played a ranked team was in, I think probably December.
Still scrolling back, trying to find the last ranked team in there.
And I mean, they haven't. I mean, yeah, with losses to Temple, I mean, they haven't really played anyone. I think when they get to that tournament, they're going to be shell shocked by the talent they're going to run into. Maybe even in the first round against one of those 15, 16 seeds, and you move on to a 9 and 8 seed.
That's a bold take. You're saying 16 coming for them?
16 might be coming for them. I don't know.
Okay. We've got to save this one for the archives. Michael put Houston on upset watch in round 1.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they get past round 1, I don't even know if they could beat the 9 or 8 seed. I mean, so I think this might be a first weekend head out for them this year. So.
Michael is not a Calvin Sampson fan. Those 8-9 seeds can be dangerous, though. UNC was an AC last year, so you never know. But yeah, I look back at Houston. So they played 3 ranked teams in December. They played St. Mary's, beat them, lost to Bama, beat Virginia. They haven't played a ranked team since December 17th. That's going to be 3 months by the time they get into the tournament. It's going to be fun to see, guys. A couple weeks from now, we'll be talking about conference tournaments and then March Madness. It's going to be a fun stretch of basketball, and then the NBA playoffs will start right after that. So lots of fun upcoming on the court. Well, that's going to do it for BS or Real Talk. Be interested to see which of our predictions come true, which are not. I think we split the table on all of them. Some of us are going to be right, some of us are going to be wrong. It's going to be fun to watch. When we come back, though, we're going to end this week's episode of the One Out Sports Show like we do every one. We've got our pick'ems. We've got some big college basketball, big NBA games, and we'll pick that Texas-Indiana series as well. You won't want to miss it coming up on the One Out Sports Show. Wait, where did that go? Welcome back into the 1-0 Sports Show. It's time to end our show with our pick'em segment. We've got 10 great games. We've got some college basketball, a little bit NBA, and then we'll pick the big 3 Texas games coming up this weekend. Let's start off with the Big 12 game. We've been talking about it a lot. This is a must-win for one of these teams. Number 24 TCU traveling to Lubbock to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders tomorrow at 11 a.m. Courtney, who you got in that one?
I mean, judging for what I said earlier in the show, I'm going to have to go with Texas Tech. I think they're running hot, and I think they're going to continue to run to the NCAA tournament.
I say great pick there, the Red Raiders. They know this one's a must-win. Fardas Amik, he's healthy again. He's been playing really well for them. Double-doubles in his past 2 games. Could be the Red Raiders over the Horned Frogs, who've been a little bit up and down this year in Big 12 play. Michael, bring us home.
Though I don't see Texas Tech making the tournament, I do have them winning this game. It's a must-win for them if they even want to have a shot. They're a hot team right now. TCU's kind of been on the downfall. I got Texas Tech.
Now moving over to another Big 12 game. Kansas State, number 14, traveling to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State, this one at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Michael, who do you have in that one?
I got it being close, but I got K-State coming out on top. I mean, they've just been a hot team this whole year. I mean, Oklahoma State is kind of hit or miss this year. I got to go K-State.
Courtney?
I'm also going to go Kansas State. I think this Oklahoma team is very beatable. I feel like Texas Tech later is also going to beat them, so I kind of see them go on a downtrend recently, so I'm going to go with Kansas State right here.
I think that's a great pick. I'm bringing up Kansas State. Big win over Baylor last time out. This Oklahoma State team, I think, is probably the doormat of the Big 12. They play some good defense, but offensively they're not there. I think the Wildcats take care of business. This one's an interesting one. ACC, number 6 Virginia just got upset by Boston College in midweek. They're traveling to Chapel Hill, take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Courtney, who do you have in that one?
The upset kind of was shocking a little bit, but I mean, upsets happen. I still think that Virginia is a strong team. Like I said, there's not a lot of top teams in college basketball, so everyone's gonna give you a fighting chance. But I still think Virginia's gonna pull this out in a very close game versus North Carolina.
I'm gonna say not so fast. Crazy things happen when teams are on the bubble. The North Carolina Tar Heels, they're fighting for their lives to get into March Madness at home. I think the home crowd's gonna carry them to a tight victory. It's gonna be a tough week to be a Cavalier fan. Give me the Tar Heels in a close one as they look to steal their spot in March Madness coming up. What do you think?
I do got to agree it's going to be a close one, but I got Virginia pulling it out. I mean, they're the ranked team. They're coming off. They're going to probably be a little upset that they just lost this game. They don't want to go on a down step, but North Carolina will be fighting for their life, but I got Virginia winning this one.
That one should be a good one, 5 o'clock on ESPN. Now let's flip over to the Big Ten. This one's another rivalry game, 6:30 on Fox. Number 17, Indiana, taking on number 5, Purdue. Both these teams have had some bad losses in the past week or so. Courtney, who's going to stop the slump? Who's going to get a big win on Saturday?
Yeah, I believe y'all talked earlier in the show about Purdue just kind of just falling down a little bit, but I don't really think that they're facing someone who's too talented, and I still see them winning, so I'm going to go with Purdue.
I think that's a great pick. Indiana coming off a bad loss to Michigan State. And Purdue's 2 losses, Maryland, Northwestern, both on the road. I think the Boilermakers, they bounce back with a home win midweek. I think they get another home win tomorrow. Should be a good one, good rivalry game, but I think Purdue's going to right the ship at home, especially with Zach Edey. I think he's impossible to stop in the paint as big as he is. Michael, who do you think?
I got to agree. I got to go with Purdue. They're going to defend their home court. They're going to want revenge. They lost to Indiana earlier this year. I think Purdue's going to pull it out.
Now, this one's an interesting one. How about the West Coast Conference? There are 2 marquee teams playing each other tomorrow night, 9 o'clock on ESPN. Number 15, St. Mary's making the trip up the Pacific Coast, take on the number 12 Gonzaga Bulldogs. Michael, who do you have in that one?
Give me Gonzaga. I think it's going to be a close game. I think these are 2 well-rounded teams, 2 well-matched, but I think Gonzaga can take it home.
St. Mary's beat them by 8 in Spokane. At home. Now they're traveling up Spokane. I'm going to just say St. Mary's. I think the Gales, I'm just going to go for the upset. I feel like crazy things happen after dark on the West Coast. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. But yeah, give me St. Mary's in the upset. Why not? Gonzaga hasn't been the same that they normally have in the past couple of years.
I'm gonna go with Gonzaga. If they're at home, I trust them at home. I think they can pull out the win.
Now let's go over to the NBA. How about this one in the Western Conference? Nuggets taking on the Grizzlies. Michael, who do you have in that one?
I got Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets are the number 1 team in the West right now. They're a hot team. They got MVP frontrunner, I believe. He's Mr. Triple-Double. He's trying to take that crown away from Russell Westbrook. And then the Grizzlies haven't been the same since that debacle with Shannon Sharp earlier in the season, so I got to go with the Nuggets.
Courtney, what do you think?
I think the Grizzlies are pretty much a fake team. I believe. I don't really think that. I think that Jokic is gonna bring regular season wins. That's why they're number 1 in the West right now. I think the Nuggets dominate the down low in the post, like they always do, and so I think the Nuggets are gonna pull this one out.
I would say not so fast. I think I'm just gonna go with the home team here with the Grizzlies. I think with John Morant and company, I think the Grizzlies have enough to get a home win. If it was in Denver, I'm definitely taking the Nuggets. But we'll say cross-country trip coming off the All-Star break. I think the Grizzlies right the ship at home heading into kind of this back half of the season. Another big NBA game. This one's 7:30 ABC. Celtics at the 76ers. Michael, who do you have in that one?
I got the 76ers. I mean, they're coming off a huge comeback win against the Grizzlies last night, I believe. And, I mean, they've been on a roll recently with another MVP, top 3 MVP caliber player in Joel Embiid. And the Celtics are a great team, but I got to take the home team here.
I think the Celtics are arguably the best team in the East, so I'm going to take the Celtics here. I think they know this is a big game, primetime TV. I think the Celtics show up for this one. I think they win in a tight one.
Yeah, I was. I originally chose Celtics. Sixers kind of almost changed my mind, especially with that block that Joel Embiid did on John Morant in the closing end. But I'm still gonna go with Celtics. I think Jason Tatum is playing as good as he can right now. They're coming off the All-Star break. I think that this team needed the rest, and they barely almost beat. They barely beat Indiana, but I think that was just them, just kind of like bringing their feet back up. So I think they're going to face a big team in the Sixers, but I think they're going to win.
Texas baseball taking on Indiana. So it's a 3-game series, Friday through Sunday. So we're just going to pick how many out of the 3 we think the Horns are going to win. Courtney, how many games do you think they're taking?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2. It is at home. I don't think they're going to win all 3. It's kind of hard to do that, but I think that they are the better team. I think if they just improve their defense a little bit, I think they'll be able to win 2 out of 3.
I think that's a great pick. That's what Evan was saying. He said Texas should be the better team this weekend. I think just with such a young team, with the team still looking for experience, I think they do let one slip up somewhere in there. So I'm going 2 out of 3 as well. Michael?
I got to agree. I got to win. They're a better team. They should be able to take 2 games this weekend. I mean, I don't know if they can win 3, especially with them struggling with their field play and their defensive-wise. Bats aren't as hot. But I think as being the better team, they should be able to at least take 2.
This one's an interesting one. Number 19, Texas at number 13, Oklahoma. This is a big Big 12 women's basketball game tomorrow. Red River rivalry up in Norman. Courtney, who do you think takes it home?
It being in Norman is kind of scary, but the Texas women's basketball team just got off of a little break. They took a little reserve break this late into the season. It's kind of untelling how that will affect them. I don't know if it'll bring them more rest or it'll kind of kill their momentum because they have been hot. So I still see Texas winning in a very close one, but it's going to be a good game.
I think, unfortunately, like Lee Corso says, this is strictly business. I'm going to have to go with the Sooners. Their offense is insane. Look at the last 6. 101, 93, 98, 85, 84, 86 points. That's insane. We saw this Texas team struggle on the road against Iowa State to barely break 50. I think the Sooners are unfortunately just going to shoot the Longhorns out of the building. I think they just outscore them. I think it's a tough task. I think at home the Longhorns take this one, but I think in front of the home crowd, Oklahoma is going to outscore the Longhorns tomorrow. It should be a good game, but I think the Sooners hang on at home. Michael, what do you think?
As much as it hurts my heart to ever pick OU in anything, I got to take OU here. I mean, it's the Red River rivalry. They're the home team. These are the 2 best teams in the Big 12. I think they defend home court. I mean, yeah, like you said, their offense has been hot. Texas' offense hasn't been. I mean, I got to take OU here.
And how about this one? Another big ranked Big 12 matchup. This is going to be our final pick 'em of the show. The number 8 Texas Longhorns making the drive up I-35 this afternoon. Take on the number 9 Baylor Bears tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Michael, who's your pick in that game?
Give me Texas over Baylor. I mean, like I said earlier, if they can somehow find a way to just stop their guard play, limit that, kind of force them to get into the paint, get them away from their jump shots, get them away from their ISO ball, I think Texas take this win in a close one.
Baylor's come off 2 straight losses at the Kansas schools. I'm going to say Texas as well because they showed that they can win these marquee matchups on the road. I think that win against Kansas State, that come from behind win in Manhattan really stands out, show that they can do this. They beat this Baylor team at home. I think this Texas team picks up a big momentum win against the Bears tomorrow in Waco. Give me the Longhorns in what should be a really good game. Courtney, bring us out.
I think this may be a little premature, but I think Texas is really cooking up something special this year, and I think they're going to continue all the way to the home stretch. I think they are going to beat Baylor, and I think they're going to continue to run that a lot of us expected this year, and they're actually finally pulling it out.
Credit to Rodney Terry. He's done a fantastic job since taking over, but definitely keep an eye. I know they're both on the road, but support some Texas hoops on your TV. You got the women and the men both playing tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So get that dual screen set up in your living room, or go to the baseball game at 1 and get 2 phones going. So it should be a packed Texas sports afternoon tomorrow. Well, that's going to do it for this week on the 1-0 Sports Show. Big thanks to Evan Vieth for coming on and talk Texas baseball with us. Shout out to CC Rodriguez for keeping us in line behind stage, and Samantha Pearl running everything in master control. Courtney, Michael, good stuff. Glad having you all on. Michael, first time 1-0 host. Courtney making his 1-0 debut. It was a lot of fun having you all this morning. For them too, I'm Adam Ogburn. Make sure to tune in next week at 10 a.m. and also check out our sister shows. We've got College Press Box that airs on Tuesday nights, and College Crossfire hosted by Tommy Yaris. That one on Wednesday nights at 9. Courtney, our defending Crossfire champion. So you got to keep checking out this semester, get some glimpses of him as he looks to defend his crown over the coming months. But that's going to do it for us today. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you back here next Friday at 10 a.m.